last time he broke everything, made us drink gold water, and then sent this tribe of Levi to go and kill 3,000 people. So yeah, I'm going to be a little bit nervous when I see Moses' face radiating. Hey guys, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I read Bible so you don't have to. And we are heading to the end of Exodus. We are tarrying forth because after Exodus comes sweet, sweet Leviticus, and we're going to try to get through Leviticus as quick as we can so that we can get to Deuteronomy. I do not want to read Numbers. I know that Numbers is going to be just so dull. It's going to be so boring. But I think Deuteronomy has a lot of really aggressive, funny stuff. So I can't wait to get there and see what other barbaric nonsense God wants his people to get up to. I don't know why I've decided to do this. Sometimes I just go, there's too much Bible. I'm not even through Exodus. That's the second book. It's going to take a decade to make it to Revelation or Revelations. No one knows exactly what it's called, but we're currently here at Exodus chapter 34, and Moses has begged God to not be angry and not to kill everyone, and God says, okay, you changed my mind. And then God was like, yeah, but I'm not hanging out with you guys because you're going to get me way too angry. You're going to really pee me off. And Moses is like, well, listen, can you rethink that too? Because it would be nice to have you, because you are God, and it'll look good. It'll look better for us, and people will think you're impressive too if you show up a little. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. Okay, you convinced me. If you think I'm great, okay, I'll hang out with you. I actually think I'd really like that because you've really seen me, and I know your name, whatever that means. So now let me walk in front of you in a kind of sexy sort of way where you only see my butt, you know? But anyway, if you want to know about that stuff, you have to watch the previous chapter. We're here at chapter 34. Who knows what's going to happen, but we're going to get right into it as soon as you subscribe, leave me a little bit of a comment, and like the video. I'll wait. All right, let's get going. Exodus chapter 34. The Lord said to Moses, chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and I will write on them the words that were on the first tablets which you broke. God is again going to use his finger with either lightning bolts or just his finger, and by the way, it would be the other way because it's in Hebrew. And he's going to write out exactly what was written on the first tablets. You know, probably down to the female slaves don't go free. You know, those types of things that he wrote on the first ones. Be ready in the morning and then come up on Mount Sinai. So is Mount Sinai and Mount Horeb beside each other or something? Or it's very confusing. Present yourself to me there on top of the mountain. No one is to come with you or be seen anywhere on the mountain. Not even the flocks and herds may graze in front of the mountain. Don't come near the mountain, stay away from the mountain. Everyone's got to stay away from the Sinai mountain, or is it the Horeb mountain? We don't know, but it is a mountain. Everyone stay away from the mountain. That's copyrighted. That's copyrighted. That's going to be a hit. I'm going to write that into a song. That's a pretty good song. So Moses chiseled out 2 stone tablets like the first ones and went up Mount Sinai early in the morning as the Lord had commanded him. And he carried the 2 stone tablets in his hands. They can't be that big or that heavy. He's old, okay? He's also weak. He can't even hold up his hands for very long. So he's got to lug up these stone tablets. They're heavy. They're heavy, God. They're heavy. Anyway, so they can't be that big. They're probably just, little ones. And he carried them in his hands. It's not even under his arms. So they're probably not very big at all. The Lord came down on the cloud and stood there with him and proclaimed his name, the Lord. Yahweh! 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 It's Yahweh. 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 Moses is like, I'm the only one here. You told me to come alone. All right. Yahweh. Yes, I know you, Yahweh, I know. Yes, well, anyway, I'm here. I'm floating down on a cloud. You know when people are like, I don't believe that God is some big old man with a beard on a cloud. Blah, blah, blah. Well, the cloud part, you kind of have to believe, don't you? You have to believe he floats down on a cloud, like a cartoon or some sort of child's fantasy fairy tale book. He floats down. It's like underneath there was a flying carpet, but he uses a cloud, because as we know, clouds are solid things that someone can sit on. Like, what is that, cumulus? Does it work with the other ones? He floats down on a cloud like in a cartoon, and he passed in front of Moses, probably with his back or something, proclaiming, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands and forgiving wickedness, rebellion and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of their fathers to the third and fourth generation. Okay? But I am loving, okay? I am compassionate. I'm gracious. I'm slow to anger. I know I got really angry because they made a gold calf last time, but I'm abounding in love and I'm faithful. Guys, I maintain love to thousands. Thousands. I did have 3,000 brutally murdered by their family, but guys, I forgive wickedness and rebellion. But I will kill you, and I will punish you down to the third and fourth generation if you cross me. Sorry, I lost it for a second there. I'm the Lord. I'm the Lord, the Lord, the Lord. I love saying my name, Yahweh, 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 But don't fuck with me. Moses bowed to the ground at once and worshipped. "O Lord, if I have found favor in your eyes," he said, "then let the Lord go with us, although this is a stiff-necked people. Forgive our wickedness and our sin, and take us as your inheritance." What, is God inheriting these people? How's that? They're his creation. He made them. We're okay, whatever. I'm not going to pick on this word inheritance, and it's also Moses talking. I like inheritance. We can be your inheritance in a sense. He's like, yeah, well, I made you. And by the way, not much of an inheritance. You guys are losers. You guys are rebellious. I have to kill 3,000 of you every now and then anyway. You guys aren't even that cool. I don't like you. But yeah, so Moses is just kind of begging again that God goes with them, which the only reason why he probably wants him to go with them is because God keeps on gaslighting them and saying that he's compassionate. Like, God is using these terms, compassionate, slow to anger, all those things, abounding in love. I'm abounding in love. Believe I'm abounding in love. He's just saying these things, hoping that Moses believes them, and that is just the epitome of gaslighting. And then he goes, but don't make me angry, because if you do, it's your fault. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. This is like, if somebody wants to learn how to be an abusive boyfriend or girlfriend, use the Bible, because God is a great example of that. He really knows how to say, I love you, babe. You just made me angry. You just made me angry this time, and I can't put up with that, babe. So yeah, I'm going to knock you around and kill 3,000 people that you love. But I love you. I'm really actually slow to anger. I'm very patient with you. I'm actually really, isn't it disgusting? Isn't it just like, but you know what the apologetic is going to be? God can do it though. How can we question God? God can do it. He's the all-powerful one, so he's allowed to do that. So we're supposed to bow down and cower and sort of hope that he likes us, hope that we're one of the ones that, well, maybe we perform correctly and we're not stiff-necked or something like that, But it is absolutely disgusting if you really think about what's going on here. Then the Lord said, I am making a covenant with you. Before all your people, I will do wonders never before done in any nation in all the world. The people you live among will see how awesome is the work that I, the Lord, will do for you. Obey what I command you today. I will drive out before you the Amorites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land where you are going, or they will be a snare among you. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and cut down their Asherah poles. Do not worship any other god, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Well, that makes sense if his name is jealous. Hi, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. My name's jealous, but I'm also jealous. I'm both. My name is jealous, but I'm also the adjective jealous. So it's both. I know it's confusing. I should have just called myself Yahweh and then just said I was jealous, but my name is capital J, jealous. I know it doesn't make that much sense, but it's just like somebody named Charity who's charitable. Except jealous, unfortunately, they use it the same in both instances. My name is jealous, and I'm also jealous. I'm not. I wish it was jealousy, but that's not how language works. So anyway, it is confusing. But God is making some pretty big promises. He's saying that He's going to drive out these enemies, the Canaanites and all the other types of ites. He's going to drive them out before them. But then He also wants these guys to smash their altars and all those other things. I guess He can't be bothered to do that part of it, which is fine. I get it. God only has so much energy. He needs to rest. But God is also really clear, you're not making a treaty with these people. We're not making friends with them. They're not friendly. We are their lifelong enemy. I hate them. I don't know. I know I just said I was a God of love before, but I hate them. I only really like the Hebrews. I only like you guys. You're my guys. So because they worship other gods, probably because I haven't really revealed myself to them in any real way, and I've just been, parting Red Seas and things for you, but that's kind of their fault. So I'm going to destroy them and give them your land. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land, for when they prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to them, they will invite you and you will eat their sacrifices. And when you choose some of their daughters as wives for your sons, and those daughters prostitute themselves to their gods, they will lead your sons to do the same. So this is like, guys, whatever you do, don't hook up with the women in these other nations. Look, if you're at war and you're taking over these nations, do not, if you see a beautiful woman, take her as your own, because she will convince you to prostitute yourself to another god, sleep at another god, have sex at another god. You'll have sex for another god, or not with another god, I wouldn't think, in the name of the other god. Like, whatever this means, they're going to do that. So it sounds like we're not making a treaty with these people. We are not going to hook up with these people. We're going to steer clear. So as long as in the future we don't see any laws or advice by God to go into another nation and make a wife of any of those people, as long as we don't see that, then this would be pretty consistent. I think this is a little bit over the top. Like, these are people. You're judging a whole nation of people again as if they're one person, which is, I never find that particularly fair, but it's Yahweh. He can do what he wants, right? Might makes right. Am I right, Christians? He does what he wants. He does what he wants. He can show mercy on who he shows mercy on. He can show compassion on who he can compassion. He's in charge here. Do not make cast idols. Okay. That's just like another law just in the middle of nowhere. Celebrate the feast of unleavened bread for 7 days. Eat bread made without yeast, as I commanded you. Remember, I hate yeast. Do this at the appointed time in the month of Abib, for that month you came out of Egypt. Great, we know this. We're just reiterating things now. The first offspring of every womb belongs to me, including all the firstborn males of your livestock, whether from herd or flock. Redeem the firstborn donkey with a lamb. But if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem all your firstborn sons. I'm glad he fixed the problem that was in that other chapter. I think it was 22. So when you hear that there are 65,000 cross references in the Bible, this is what it's talking about. It's just saying the same thing again. And this has happened 3 times with slight variations that I can remember. Do not make cast idols. That's also just repeat. It's just repetition, guys. That does not illustrate some sort of magic or divine inspiration. That's just people repeating themselves over and over again in the same book from the same culture with the same laws. It's not that surprising. It is a little bit redundant and rather boring, but it is certainly not divine. No one is to appear before me empty-handed, because my priests need to be fed. 6 days you shall labor, but on the 7th day you shall rest. Even during the plowing season and the harvest, you must rest. This has kind of snuck up on me, but I think we're in the throes of the 10 Commandments again. I think that this is another 10 Commandments. I don't know exactly where they're supposed to start. I don't know if it's be careful not to make a treaty, do not make cast idols, celebrate the feast of unleavened bread, the first offering of every womb belongs to me, no one is to appear before me empty-handed, 6 days you shall labor, but on the 7th day you shall rest. Even during the plowing season and the harvest, you must rest. Celebrate the Feast of Weeks with the first fruits of the wheat harvest and the Feast of Ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times a year, all your men are to appear before the sovereign Lord, the God of Israel. I will drive out nations before you and enlarge your territory, and no one will covet your land when you go up 3 times each year to appear before the Lord your God. I don't know if we've mentioned the Feast of Weeks. I can't remember. I think I do vaguely remember the Feast of Ingathering. Do not offer the blood of a sacrifice to me along with anything containing yeast. I hate yeast! And do not let any of the sacrifice from the Passover feast remain until morning. So we're burning the stuff. That goes back to the manna thing. God doesn't like things. I mean, it starts smelling, right? Even overnight, it'll start to stink. Bring the best of the first fruits of your soil to the house of the Lord your God. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. That's a weird one. Then the Lord said to Moses, write down these words, for in accordance with these words, I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. Moses was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights without eating bread or drinking water, and he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments. So I think we just got the 10 Commandments again. But they are nothing like the original 10 Commandments. Remember, at the beginning of this chapter, it says, I will write on them the words that were on the first tablets, as if it's some sort of practical joke or again, is God testing us or something to see if we were paying attention? He is giving us 10 completely different commandments. There's nothing about not murdering and not coveting. There's nothing in here. It's about celebrating things. It's about not cooking young goats in their mother's milk. Yes, do not cast idols. Do the Sabbath day thing, worded differently. It's as if there are 2 completely different accounts of this thing being mashed together, and we're supposed to not notice. But if you are a Christian who really loves the Ten Commandments and wants to subscribe to the Ten Commandments, these are the Ten Commandments. The other ones from chapter 20 were not called the Ten Commandments. They were just 10 general rules. These ones are called the Ten Commandments in verse 28. But do you want to follow these 10 commandments? These 10 commandments appear to be very specific to a group of people at a specific time. But this is indeed, if not nothing less, an absolute contradiction. The contradiction is, I will write exactly what was on the first ones, and then we get nothing that was on the first ones, okay? And stuff that you will never care about. I've never heard, do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk before. That has not been on any Ten Commandment replicas that I've ever seen, but okay. I guess that is the exact same thing that he wrote on the first ones. But if you ever talk to anyone and they're like, no, the Ten Commandments are the only laws that we still need to follow because they want to distance themselves from the slavery, this must be what they're talking about, because this is the only 10 commandments that are called the 10 commandments in this book that I know of. I don't know if there's going to be another one. It is very repetitive, so I wouldn't put it past Bible. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands, he was not aware that his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. Did that not happen the first time? This is a new symptom of talking to Yahweh, is your face becomes radiant, I guess. You know, they're always adding different things. And again, it keeps the stories interesting, so I'm grateful. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, his face was radiant, as they just said, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called to them. So Aaron and all the leaders of the community came back to him, and he spoke to them. It's really funny that they're like, uh-oh, look how radiant his face is. He's seen God, so he's shining he's beaming with light. And that makes them scared because God is scary. They're like, last time he broke everything, made us drink gold water, and then sent this tribe of Levi to go and kill 3,000 people. So yeah, I'm going to be a little bit nervous when I see Moses' face radiating. All right? Like the next thing you know, he's going to breathe fire on us or something like that and smash the tablets into our faces and kill all of us. So yeah, they're like, are you angry? Are you angry this time? Are you angry this time? He's like, come over, guys. I'm actually feeling really cool today. Afterwards, all the Israelites came near him, and he gave them all the commands the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. Which ones? Does this include all the first ones and the second ones and the ones in between? Or like, at this point, it's like, who knows? Who knows anything? God gave us an objective moral law. Oh, did he? Everything is so confusing and vague and strange. You got to admit that. When Moses finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. But whenever he entered the Lord's presence to speak with him, he removed the veil until he came out. And when he came out and told the Israelites what he had been commanded, they saw that his face was radiant. Then Moses would put the veil back over his face until he went in to speak with the Lord. Cool, so we get this new cool move that when Moses speaks with the Lord, his face radiates. So now he needs a veil because it scares the people, and he takes the veil off. Again, I take this as creative writing because it didn't happen ever before. You never heard of this happening before. Jacob wrestled with God. Don't remember any radiation. Abraham strolled around talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. He never went back to Sarah, and Sarah was like, oh, look at all that radiation on your face. You know, that's just never happened. Burning bush, the tent where Moses molested Joshua. There was just never a time where we saw this radiation thing happen. But all of a sudden, new thing. When God talks to Moses, his face radiates. Whatever that means. All right, guys, that was chapter 34. it was a good one. I think it was interesting. It was fun. It was exciting. It was it was controversial. It was weird. It didn't make that much sense, to be honest. There was just this new sort of, here's a new 10 Commandments that's supposed to be exactly like the old 10 Commandments. I think the whole book is gaslighting us. And what we end up with is a bunch of Christians who are trying to make sense of it and need to accept it all as gospel and all as truth. And so they bend over backwards to try to make it make sense. And it gets comical because it's like, come on, guys, just admit that it's kind of incoherent, right? Like, just we can't take it seriously. And I know that undermines the authority of your whole religion, but be honest. You got to be honest. It's not great, right? Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. If you can be bothered to subscribe, like this video, and give me a little comment, just to push it into the algorithm a little bit, make YouTube think that you enjoy my content. That would be really, really wonderful. I love you for it. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.